And let's begin this edition of the news with this important breaking update coming in. This is a conversation that happened between the Prime Minister and the Japanese Prime Minister for about 40 minutes. Now, Abhishek is just joining us to get you more details of what really happened in this. And Abhishek, what really are the highlights of this conversation?
Well, as I see it, Deepti, two things. One, that it's a longish conversation of 40 minutes. Two, that it comes just a few days before the possibility of a Quad summit happening between India, Japan, Australia, and the United States. And this is a readout from the Japanese Prime Minister's office or the Foreign Ministry of Japan. And it minces no words in saying that there are concerns about China's actions in the East and South China Seas, with China's Coast Guard law, with Hong Kong, with Xinjiang. It does not mention Ladakh, but it goes on to mention issues in Korea, where China is an important player, and essentially Chinese neighborhood and the troubles caused by the Chinese. So I think that was a very frank and fair discussion that took place between the two sides, apart from, of course, the bilateral aspect of the relationship. But as I said, for me, two important aspects. One, that it was the longest conversation, over 40 minutes. And two, that it comes just ahead of the possibility of a Quad summit happening between the four Quad nations. A statement from the Ministry of External Affairs of Prime Minister's Office of India is still awaited, Deepti.
Oh, yes. You know, Abhishek, for viewers just wondering what this Quad is also all about, why don't you throw a little bit light on that? Because, you know, the US, Japan, India and Australia that will be meeting in this virtual summit this week that is unofficially called the Quad, also many say could be a regional counterweight, Abhishek, to Beijing.
Well, a lot of leaders have gone to great lengths to strain the fact that it is actually not a military pact. It is not a military alliance. But the fact of the matter is that there are concerns about China's rise and the manner in which it is rising. For example, in this statement or this readout, the Japanese Prime Minister clearly expressed concerns about the unilateral manner in which attempts are being made to change the status quo. China has done that with Japan in the Senkaku Islands. It is doing with Hong Kong. It is doing with Taiwan. And of course, they tried last year with India in Ladakh. So I think as a counter, to make sure that the rule of law is followed in open seas, particularly South China Sea and the Taiwan Straits, essentially almost two-thirds of global trade passing through this region of seas and oceans. I think Quad is essentially a counterbalance to that. As I said, obviously, nobody would say it in so many words that it's a military alliance. But then what is important is it is coming together of common interest to make sure that China does not dictate terms and twist rule of law, international rule of law in these important sea lanes.
You know, I think that's a good point, Abhishek. And let's talk a little bit more about the US, because it's got to be the first time that talks have been held between the heads of state of the four-member Quad. And this is coming as all these four countries are looking at heightened tensions, at least with Beijing, on a number of issues.
Well, Quad is an idea that has been in the making for a while. It remained in the think tank circuit, and then, of course, under Trump administration, because Trump really upped the ante. So far as China is concerned, Quad really took shape with, in fact, the Trump administration renaming the Pacific Command as Indo-Pacific Command. And the Indo-Pacific and Quad essentially came shaped up together. And though as of now, there have been some informal Quad summits at the level of foreign ministers, this is the first time perhaps leadership level proper Quad summit would be happening. So that's very important, significant. As also, as I said, as a build-up to this summit, this statement and this longish conversation between Prime Minister Modi of India and Prime Minister Suga of Japan gains that much more significance.
Okay, Abhishek, for the moment, thank you so much for filling us in with that very comprehensive overview when it comes to India-Japanese relationship. Sushant Sareen also, who holds a keen view of this entire situation, joining us on the broadcast right now. Sushant, is it just about the two leaders talking that spoke for about 40 good minutes? Beijing has been discussed and a lot more, Sushant. But what is your reading of the road ahead? You know, Abhishek and I were just discussing about the Quad and also the possibility of the heads of states this time, getting together in the Quad. What really does this mean vis-a-vis Beijing right now, Sushant?
Look, very clearly, I think the Quad is an idea whose time has come. There has been reluctance at one point or another by one member of the potential Quad arrangement or the other. At one time, the Australians were, a standout. At another time, the Indians were reluctant to get in very deeply in the Quad. But I think the way the Chinese have pushed everyone around, I think they have, in a sense, managed to get most of the countries of the Quad to get rid of their hesitations and their reluctance to actually energize the Quad and make it into something more than just a talking shop. Until recently, it was only a talking shop. Now what you are seeing is, for example, the latest sea exercises, naval exercises that we did. The Australians also came in. It was virtually a Quad exercise. There are other arrangements which are being worked out between the various Quad countries. I think the foreign ministers have spoken. Now, like you said, there is a talk of a summit meeting happening between the Quad leaders. There is also interest from other countries to become part of the Quad. The Brits have expressed some interest in it. The French are very keen. And some of the other littoral of South China Sea countries are also interested, or at least are looking at it as a potential balancer to what China has been doing, the kind of expansionist policies that China has been following. Now, it's good that India and China seem to be working towards de-escalation along the borders, but that does not mean an end to the Chinese challenge. And if, we can get some of the other countries to become part of a kind of a regional bloc, if you will, or if you will, a NATO of the East, I think it's important because otherwise, the Chinese are rampaging through the smaller countries. They're pushing them around. They are trapping them into this, what they call the debt trap diplomacy. And I think it is time to push back against what the Chinese have been doing. But single most important thing for energizing the Quad is to divert the economic strength of China from China into the other countries. As long as you remain dependent on China for economic reasons, then I think you have a deep problem and you will never be able to face up to China. As long as the Quad countries realize that...
That's a fascinating bit, Sushant, that you actually put out, only for what if time. But we look forward to talking to you again, considering that this is an idea, Sushant, like you said, the Quad is an idea whose time now has come. For the moment, thank you for filling us in on what really does that mean for the Indo-Pacific region also.